meeting of the Burlington Conservation Commission. The notice that I will read will introduce the meeting pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, and the governor's also March 15th order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place. This meeting of the Town of Burlington's Conservation Commission is being conducted through remote participation. No in-person attendance or members of the public will be permitted in person, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access these proceedings as provided for in the order. A reminder that persons who would like to listen to or view this meeting while in progress may do so in a number of ways. You can tune in to the BCAT Government Cable Access Channel. You can tune into the BCAT Government Meetings Facebook live feed, or you can actually join the meeting over the phone, 408-418-9388. The meeting number is 1-73756-9317. I believe Eileen Coleman is displaying the link and the meeting number and the password. However, if you can't copy it all down in time and you would like to join, you can go to the Town of Burlington's calendar, go to today's date and click on Conservation Commission. Up will come the agenda. You click on the agenda and the link to join this meeting either as live video feed or by signing in with a password will be on the agenda. New public hearings open tonight will not be closed, so we can allow comments from those who are unable to access or uncomfortable with this technology. Comments and concerns regarding public hearings should always be emailed to conservation@burlington.org before the next meeting, which is November 12th. In a moment, I will call the roll call, and we'll have to do it by individual, and who will say either aye or present. And all votes subsequent to that will be by roll call. I should note that the meeting is being recorded. And with that, I will call on to see who's here, call in attendance. Don Bernstein, Commissioner.
Present.
Gail Lima.
Present.
Indra Deb, he's a commissioner. He is not present. Bill Boyven.
Here.
Jennifer O'Riordan.
Present.
Ed Loturco.
Here.
All right. Kent Moffat, he's our associate commissioner, and I believe he is absent. I don't see him online. And myself, Larry Cohen, chair of the commission, is also present. Next item on the agenda, therefore, after this, is to state that on the agenda, items number 9, which is the Redmond Street roadway by Somerset Realty Trust, and number 4, Redmond Street, construction of a single-family dwelling, and number 5, Redmond Street, construction of a single-family dwelling. They have asked for a continuance until November 12th. Could I have a motion to continue those 3 projects, items 9, 10, and 11 on this agenda to November 12th?
So moved, Ed. Second, Bill.
Okay, Don, how do you vote?
Yes.
Gail?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. I think that is 6-0-0. That carries. Next item on the agenda is citizens' time. Is there anyone on the phone or on the video feed that wants to say something about something that's not on the agenda? We reserve that for citizens' time. Okay, I didn't hear anything. The record should show no one is here for citizens' time. Item 3 on the agenda is the approval of minutes, October 8th, 2020. Are we in a position to approve those minutes?
Yes.
All right, could I have a motion, please, to approve the minutes of October 8th, 2020?
So moved. Bill?
Second?
Second, Gail.
All right, Don, how do you vote?
Yes.
Gail?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, carries 600, minutes are approved. Next, item 4A, we have a request for certificate of compliance, return of surety. This is for 28 Francis Wyman Road. It was requested by Gary Litchfield, DEP file number 122-588. Is someone here for that item? All right. John, is there any reason why we can't proceed with this?
No.
All right, so we had a site visit. John or Eileen, what's the status with compliance with the order? Can't hear you, Eileen.
So just to remind everybody, this was a single family home in the, really? I'm not muted.
Okay, we got you. We can hear you now.
Can you hear me now?
No.
Not now, Eileen.
Oh, okay. I wasn't muted. I was just recapping just to remind everybody that this was a single family. Oh. Can anybody hear me now?
Your voice is unsynced with your video.
You keep freezing.
Okay, John, why don't you take this and I'll switch over to my Mac instead? Is that
Okay.
okay?
All right, John.
So this is the third of 3 single-family house lots that was built on the site of a tear down. The other 2 sites have already received certificates of compliance. This is the final one that was done. We did a site walk. There were really no issues noticeable on site, and we would recommend issuing the certificate of compliance.
All right, do any commissioners have any comments on 28 Francis Wyman? All right, hearing none, could I have a motion?
Actually, Larry,
Yes.
were you going to speak to the homeowners about the runoff from the downspout onto the driveway?
John or Eileen on that?
So I don't think we didn't require infiltration from the downspouts on the roofs because of the water table on that site. There's
How about
really
running,
not.
though? Doesn't it just go right out into the road?
Well, they've got stone trenches on either side of the driveway, so hopefully some of it will go into the stone trenches.
Okay, but it just seemed like that downspout was like, not in line with the gravel. It was on the
Oh,
pavement.
no, it definitely is on the pavement, but
Yeah.
hopefully some of the water going down the pavement gets into those trenches, but
Okay,
All right, if there's nothing further, could I have a motion to issue the certificate of compliance for 28 Francis Wyman Road, DEP file number 122-588?
So moved.
Second?
Bill?
Second, Ed?
Okay. On issuing the certificate, Don, how do you vote?
yes.
Gail?
yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, carries 600, certificate is issued. John, do you have a recommendation on release of surety?
Yes, so the surety was 3,500. I'd recommend you release it all.
All right. Could I have a motion to release the full amount of the surety, $3,500 for DEP file number 122-588?
Yeah, so moved.
Second?
Second, Don. Second,
Okay. Don, how do you vote?
Yes.
Gail?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Release of the bond for 28 Francis Wyman has voted 600. Next is item 4B. request for certificate of compliance, release of surety for 147 South Bedford Street. This is Northeastern University, DEP file number 122-605. Is there anyone here for that item?
Yes, my name is Bill Maher with Niche Engineering.
All right, nice to see you.
Hey, nice to see all of you too. Hope all of you are well and safe.
Thank you. Same to you. All right.
Thank you.
We had a site visit, Mr. Maher, and John, could you give us a rundown, or Eileen, on what you think the status is?
So the site looks good. We walked it. It's certainly complete. So there's no issues with the site itself. There were a couple things as we went through the files. We don't seem to have received a snow management plan. If we did, we certainly couldn't put our hands on it. So that was a condition, a requirement that be submitted. So we definitely need that.
Okay.
And then the other issue is the as-built plans are a little different than what we're normally used to seeing. So the as-built plans were done by the contractor, not by the design engineer. There's a lot of information on there that's not really relevant to us. They're basically utility as-built plans, so they're kind of busy, but more importantly, they're not stamped. And generally, we like to get or we require stamped as-built plans.
So John, I know that there were two sets of plans that were submitted. One was an unstamped set because it was bolder, and the stamp set, there was a stamped plan sent, to you for the as-built, and it also had the grading on there. It wasn't just the utilities, but there was grading on there and so forth for what they have.
Okay, could you get us a digital copy of that as well then?
Sure.
Okay.
All
All
right.
right. So then really the only outstanding issue then is the snow management plan. All right.
All right, John, would you recommend issuing the certificate and then hold the surety and subject to getting the snow management plan?
Correct. That's what I would recommend.
Okay. Any of the commissioners have any comment on 147 South Bedford Street for Northeastern University request for certificate? All right, hearing none, could I have a motion to approve the certificate of compliance for 147 South Bedford Street, Northeastern University, DEP file number 122-605?
So moved, Don. Second,
Second.
Phil.
Okay, Dawn, how do you vote?
Yes.
Gail?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. The certificate has been issued by 600 vote, 147 South Bedford Street. Okay, now, as far as the surety, could I have a motion to release the full amount of the surety after receipt of the snow management plan for 147 South Bedford Street, Northeastern University, DEP file number 122-605?
So moved, Bill.
Second,
Second, Gail.
discussion? Okay, Dawn, how do you vote?
Yes.
Gail?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. The surety for 147 South Bedford Street is released, subject to receipt of the snow management plan for Northeastern University by a vote of 600. You're all set on that one, Mr. Maher.
Well, thank you. John, could I just ask you what the surety amount is?
It's 15,000.
Okay, thank you.
All right, now next is item 4C. This is the South Bedford Street parcel 54-13-0. A request for certificate has been received on behalf of the town of Burlington DPW, DEP file number 122-613. This was a project that went through some forest habitat down in at the south end of at the end of the street on South Bedford Street to promote water circulation. The commissioners were there for a site visit. John or Eileen, you want to give us a rundown on your opinion?
Sure. So once again, the commission visited the site yesterday. The utility, the cut through the forest is growing back well. It's well vegetated and stable. The area where they crossed a stream, if you will, it's really a stormwater outfall across the driveway from the northeastern project. Looks good. So once again, this was built in association with the northeastern project, but the town was the applicant. So there's no surety on this project.
Right. And so I assume you are recommending release.
Correct.
All right. Okay, do any of the commissioners have any comments on this before we have a motion? No. Then could I have a motion to issue a certificate of compliance for the South Bedford Street parcel 54-13-0 requested by the town of Burlington DPW, DEP file number 122-613.
So moved. Did.
Second?
Second, Gail.
Okay, Don, how do you vote on releasing the certificate? Sign it. Gail?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Chair votes yes by a vote of 600. South Bed 54-13-0 request for release of certificate of compliance has been approved. Okay,
Okay, well, thank you, commission members. And John and Eileen, I will get you that snow management plan and the digital as-built plan in the next day.
Great. Thank you.
sounds great. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Okay, thank you. Same to you, and be well and stay safe.
You too. All right, next is item 5A. Notice is hereby given the Town of Burlington Conservation Commission will hold a WebEx virtual public meeting on Thursday, October 22nd, at which time we will have a request for determination of applicability filed by Dean Hoyt. The commission will be taking information related to a proposed pool installation within the riverfront area at 9 Wildwood in Burlington, and will thereafter issue a determination. The application is being heard under the State Wetlands Protection Act and Burlington's bylaw Article 14, and information or a copy of the application is available by emailing conservation@burlington.org. Someone here for 9 Wildwood online.
Yes, sir. Dean Hoyt is available.
All right, nice to see you, sir. I sort of hear, it's more like hear you, but okay. All right, so you're our guest, so you're entitled to say as much or as little as you want about your project.
It's a pretty standard in-ground pool. I think the application details most of what we're doing. It's a fairly small pool. It's tucked up tight to the house. You know, there's going to be a patio around it, some associated landscaping and a fence. It's a 5.5 foot deep in-ground pool.
All right, thank you. John or Eileen, would you care to give us a rundown relative to distance to resource areas approximately and so forth?
Okay, can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I switched over computers. As Mr. Hoyt explained, this is a proposal for an in-ground pool. It's in the riverfront area to a tributary of Sawmill Brook. It's about 150 feet from Sawmill. I just have a question for Mr. Hoyt. It was pretty clear what your plan is for landscaping just around the pool, but are you going to be removing any trees or shrubs that are there right now?
No.
Or is it all on grass?
We're going to remove the lawn just because I don't want to do any of the watering. So all of the area from the pool to the back tree line will be filled in with new plantings. We're not planning to remove any plantings or any trees.
Okay. Well, in that case, I don't have any objection to this project. Larry?
Okay, thank you, Eileen. All right, let's see if the commissioners have anything further to say on this. Dawn, any comments?
No, not at this time.
Gail?
So John, because this is in the riverfront, does there need to be, so it's more than 100 feet, right? It's 150? Okay. So then it doesn't need to have an alternatives, right? Or improvement?
So that would really be up to you. It's not riverfront under the Mass Wetlands Protection Act. It's not a perennial stream
Okay,
under the bylaw.
okay, all right. That's it then.
Bill, comments?
I walk by this house quite regularly on my dog walks. The house is beautiful, the land is very well maintained. I'm sure this project will be equally well done. And I'm thrilled to hear that he's taken out his lawn and putting in plantings, a man after my own heart. So I have no other comments.
All right, Jennifer, anything on this?
No further comments.
Ed, anything?
Nothing to add. Nope.
I have no issues. It looks good to me. So what we will have, Mr. Hoyt, is what is called a negative conditional determination, which means if you adhere to a few simple conditions, which are kind of routine, then we don't, that means the commission does not expect to have an issue with the resource areas in the back of your house. So we're going to review it and vote on it, and then you'll be on your way.
Sorry, everyone, just trying to find it. Where are we? Wildwood. Okay, can everybody still hear me and see this?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the determination that Larry described. Mr. Hoyt, it's saying that the applicant proposed to install a 12 by 26 foot. Is that, am I the only one hearing that? In-ground pool with a 5 foot wide concrete paver, patio surround, landscaping, and a 5 foot high aluminum ornamental fence. The pool was to go on existing lawn. He provided some nice images, Google Earth images, a certified plot plan signed and stamped from September, and a version of the plot plan with the pool location sketched roughly to scale. The work was within the Adder riparian area to a tributary of Sawmill Brook that's regulated under the Burlington Wetland Bylaw with a 200-foot riverfront area. Work in the pool and concrete surround was about 150 feet from the stream. The Commission makes no finding as to whether the proposed work is within buffer zone to resource areas regulated under the Wetlands Protection Act. The Commission voted to issue a negative determination of applicability with conditions as noted for work at 9 Wildwood Avenue in Burlington. The first condition is that the decision is only for work outlined in the project description and no other work. You'd have to come back to us if something else is proposed. Prior to beginning any construction on site, sediment barriers shall be installed along the rear limit of work, and that'll be straw wattles or stake compost filters or hay bales. The one that was highlighted in yellow is because at the time I wasn't sure whether he was proposing any more any additional removal. So I'll just leave it as is. No work is permitted beyond the erosion control boundary, and no removal of trees or shrubs or alteration of naturally vegetated areas is permitted by this decision. All construction or demolition materials and excavated soil shall be disposed of off-site in a legal manner. Materials shall be stockpiled on the site at a location that minimizes that materials will run into the street. No tracking of sediments onto public roadways shall be allowed, and if it does happen, sweep the roadway. This project shall not increase the rate or volume of runoff nor cause flood or storm damage to abutters or the property of others. Members of the Commission or their designated representatives have the right to enter upon and inspect the premises, and any non-compliance with these conditions shall be deemed a violation of the Wetlands Protection Act.
All right, so Mr. Hoyt, these are fairly routine. Do you have any questions on these at all at this time?
No, I took some notes. I think it all seems very reasonable.
If you do, you can simply call the office. They'll help you out anyway, so
Okay, great.
it's fine. Okay, so, and the commissioners have any changes to the negative conditional determination proposed? No, could I have a motion to issue a negative conditional determination for the project at 9 Wildwood Street for the in-ground pool under Burlington Bylaw Article 14 in the State Wetlands Protection Act?
So moved, Bill.
Second?
Second, Don.
Don, how do you vote?
Yes.
Gail?
Yes,
Bill?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. The negative conditional determination for 9 Wildwood is approved. Mr. Hoyt, good luck with your project.
All right, thank you all, Commission. Appreciate the
All
time.
right. Have a good evening.
You too, as well, thanks.
Yep. Okay. Next is item 4B on the agenda. Notice is given. The commission will hold a WebEx virtual public meeting on Thursday, October 22nd, at which time we have a request for determination of applicability filed by Carl Kenny. The commission will be taking information relating to the installation of 3 electric car charging stations within the riverfront area and the 100-foot buffer zone to bordering vegetative wetlands. The project is located at 50 and 54 Burlington Mall Road in Burlington. And the commission will consider the project and decide whether determination. The application is being heard under the State Wetlands Protection Act and Burlington Bylaw Article 14. Information on this project is available by email by writing conservation@burlington.org. Someone here for the electric charging project.
Yeah, hello, this is Steve Conti with Eversource Energy on behalf of RJ Kelly and Carl Kenny.
All right, nice to see you. Okay, so
You too,
would
thank
you
you.
like to say a few words, just a quick summary of what you're doing?
Sure, so this project is part of the Eversource Electric Vehicle Infrastructure Program, whereby we're offering our electric service customers free electric vehicle charging infrastructure at approved sites. And at this particular site, we're proposing to install with one of our approved contractors off of an existing electrical pole in the back of the parking lot. It would be going approximately 40 to 50 total feet of trenching in between the pole. We have a electrical control distribution box, and then out to the 3 charging units, as well as bollards and just cable and conduit being installed under the earth. And yeah, all soil will be left on site. Nothing will be taken away from the site. The site will be restored to its original condition upon completion of the project.
Okay, some of the commissioners and staff were out at the site yesterday. John or Eileen, would you give us comments or issues?
So this project, although it's a request for determination of applicability, it is within the riverfront area of Long Meadow Brook. But because of the minor nature of the project, we allowed the request for determination. There's not much disturbance, obviously. The one concern we had when we were at the site is that the plan shows the panel enclosure that you just referred to it as something else, but we just want to make sure that that's totally within the grassed area and it's not going to encroach on, there's a row of boulders and trees in the back and then a big drop off to wetlands. So that has to be completely within the lawn area, correct?
Yes,
That's for
there'll
Mr.
be all
Conti.
the lawn there. Yep.
Okay. That's really the only concern, Larry.
Okay, so I guess that's been resolved. All right, the commissioners, Don, any questions, comments?
Not at this time.
Gail,
No,
Bill,
Comments?
Jennifer,
No comments.
Ed?
No comment?
I have no comments or issues either. John or Eileen, would you review, or I should have asked, is there anyone here in the audience for this project? All right, John or Eileen, would you, guess none, so would you do a review of the negative conditional determination proposed?
Okay, so the project description is the 3 electric charging stations at the rear of the parking lot. The plan references are listed. The jurisdictional area is inner riparian riverfront area to Long Meadow Brook, and within 100 feet of BVW. We're estimating it's about 80 feet from wetlands. For the purposes of this filing, we're not actually approving the boundaries of any resource areas as they weren't flagged. We're proposing a negative conditional determination with the following conditions. Condition 1, that only the work shown on the application is being permitted under this filing. Number 2 is regarding the demolition materials, soils and whatnot, if they're disposed off site, that it be in a legal manner. I think we just heard that no soils are being removed. No stockpiling of soils within 50 feet of the wetlands. No tracking of sediments onto the roadways. No trees or shrubs to be removed under this filing. And then standard conditions about dumping in the wetlands, the use of chemicals in the wetlands, commission's right to access to do inspections, and the standard condition about actions taken against the applicant if there's non-compliance issues.
Okay, so does the gentleman from Eversource have any comments at this time on what he just heard?
No, that all sounds great. Thank you.
Okay, so
Is that you, Larry?
I have no idea. I have no idea why that would happen. All I did is look at you guys. Okay. Okay, all right, so is there any comments from the commission on the proposed negative conditional determination? Hearing none, could I have a motion to approve the negative conditional determination for the project proposed at 50 and 54 Burlington Mall Road to install 3 electric car charging stations under Burlington Bylaw Article 14 in the State Wetlands Protection Act?
So moved, Ed.
Second.
Second. Dawn, how do you vote?
Yes.
Gail?
Yes.
Indra? Oh, he's not here. Okay, Bill?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. The project at 50 and 54 Burlington Mall Road is approved by a vote of 6-0-0. All right, sir, good luck with your project.
Great. Thank you all for your time. Have a great night.
All right, have a good evening. Okay. All right, notice is hereby given that the Town of Burlington Conservation Commission will hold a WebEx virtual public meeting, during which time we have a request for determination of applicability filed by Gilvin Da Silva. The commission would be taking information. It's related to the installation of helical piles to support the building's foundation load within a 100-foot buffer zone to bordering vegetative wetlands. The project is located at 4 7th Street in Burlington and thereafter issue a determination. The application is being heard pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, which is the Wetlands Protection Act, and Burlington Bylaw, Article 14. And again, information on this application, you can email conservation@burlington.org. All right, someone for the 4 7th Street project here.
Yes, my engineer, Carlos.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah. Good night. My name is Carlos Ferreira. I'm the engineer for the project. Mr. Gilvan house is, the house was actually built on unstable soil. There's some borings, geotechnical borings that we did on the house, and it was determined there's about like 12 feet of unsuitable material underneath the foundation. And we need to, he wants to like correct that situation. The house is sinking in the corner of the house, and we wanted to like reinforce the foundation, so to stabilize the building. So the idea is that we're gonna break the slab inside of the garage. We're gonna excavate to the level of the footing, and we're gonna install like some helical piles to the depth where the soil is adequate, and support the footing. So no work is gonna be done on the outside. I mean, minimal work is gonna be done on the outside. So the houses itself is on a buffer, but there's no outside work. Most of the work is gonna be done inside of the house.
Very good, understood. Thank you for that summary. Okay, John or Eileen, do you have comments or any concerns you'd like to express on this project?
Well, the main reason that I requested that they submit an RDA for this is because I wasn't clear, and I didn't really get clear answers from them about how much fill is going in. They say that they're lifting it up in helical piles, but surely they have to support the new foundation with material. So I think that was my main concern about this particular project. It's about the house itself, or the addition, the garage addition is maybe 60 or 70 feet away from the BVW. So I'm not terribly concerned about it. I just wanted to know more, to be honest.
Can I explain the process?
Yep.
All right. Basically, the helical piles is the minimum invasive process to like support the house. I mean, we're only gonna expose in small locations, like maybe every 4 feet or every 6 feet. So we're only gonna excavate inside of the garage to the depth of the footing. So the footing is like 4 feet below the level of the garage. From that point over, the helical pile is basically a metal screw that we're gonna insert into the ground until we actually found support for the helical piles. Once we achieve the support on the soil, there's a bracket that we install on top of the pile that gets attached to the footing, and that's what holds the house. We're not going to remove any dirt from underneath the house. We just need to excavate closer to the footing to expose the footing itself so we can install the helical pile. So maybe there will be like a truckload of like dirt that's going to be hauled out of the site, and then we have to put the dirt back and do like a new slab.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. Any questions from the commission on it or concerns?
I have
Anyone?
a question. I'm just curious. Has the building department approved this as a acceptable means of reinforcement?
Yes, there's a whole engineering drawing prepared for that.
Okay.
We did soil borings. I have the borings available if you wanted to take a look at it.
No, I just wanted to make sure the building department was aware of this
Yes.
as well, because this is beyond my field of expertise, and I haven't seen anything like this before in front of
Yes.
us, so.
Yeah.
Anyone
I
else on the
also haven't
commission?
seen any engineering drawings because I didn't see anything that went to the building department, which was also part of my concern. They had been asked repeatedly for drawings.
All right. So, Eileen, do we have any further concerns about moving forward on this?
Do you want to go to the rest of the commissioners?
I didn't hear anything else.
Oh.
If they have anything, they're welcome to say something.
Okay. No, I don't have any concerns about going forward.
All right. Is there anyone in the audience for this at 4 7th Street?
I just
Okay.
want to clarify something, Larry. Eileen, did you say that the building department has not received drawings or been consulted?
We have an online permitting process now for the building department, and I know that there have been a number of requests that haven't yet been filled for various pieces of information.
Okay.
And the police department, I think with police or was it fire, had held them up. Oh, it was fire because of they wanted to see where sprinkler systems were going. So it's just been unclear to me how this was proceeding.
But of course, as far as conservation, there's very little impact, so. Thank you.
Okay. Could I have you review the negative conditional determination, please?
Yes.
I will. Okay, let me pull this over. There we go. All right. So this is for the plan reference was a certified plot plan of 4 7th Street showing existing dwelling and topography signed and stamped by Norman H. Brown, PLS, on 10/1/2020. The applicant proposed to use helical piles to support and raise an existing foundation. I had written X volume of fill will also be added underneath the existing foundation because I honestly didn't understand how this was going to work. So I can just remove that.
Yes.
The work was within the 100-foot buffer zone to bordering vegetated wetlands. The proposed work was approximately 65 feet from the BBW. For the purpose of this filing, the Commission makes no finding as to the exact boundaries of the wetland resource on site. the Commission votes to issue a negative determination of applicability for this project. The decision is as outlined in the project description above, and no other work has been reviewed or permitted by this decision. All construction or demolition materials and excavated soil shall be disposed of off-site in a legal manner. No excavated soil shall be placed beyond erosion control boundary. There should be no stockpiling of soil or other materials within 50 feet of wetlands. If material is being stockpiled at the front of the property, sediment barriers shall be installed along the frontage on Savin Street. No tracking of sediments onto public roadways shall be allowed, and if this occurs, the roadways shall be swept daily. This project shall not increase the rate or volume of runoff nor cause flood or storm damage to abutters or the property of others. And it's up to the property owner to assure compliance with this condition. And the rest are standard about not dumping debris, sediment, or lawn clippings in the wetland, and not using pesticides, herbicides, or fungicides within 100 feet of the wetlands.
All right, Mr. Ferreira, these are kind of standard conditions for a minimal project. Do you have any questions on this?
No.
Okay, if you do, you can always call the office after the fact anyway, if you have a question.
Yes.
All right, so could I have a motion? Does the commission have any changes to it? Could I have a motion to issue a negative conditional determination for the project at 4 Savin Street under Burlington Bylaw Article 14 and the State Wetlands Protection Act?
Yeah,
Motion.
so moved.
Second.
Second, Bill.
Dawn, how do you vote?
Yes.
Gail?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. The negative conditional determination for 4 Savin Street is approved. Good luck with your project, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's see. Next on the agenda is a continued public hearing of a notice of intent, 102R Wynn Street in Holy. It was the horizontal drilling for a new sewer line, DP file number 122-650. Someone here for that project.
Yep, Steve Dresser here.
Good evening.
How you doing? This is a continued public hearing. I think we went over everything at the last meeting. We did not have a quorum for a vote at that time.
Right.
So I don't know if we need to rehash it or if you just want to get into the conditions. How we left it.
Do any of the commissioners have any further comments?
So Larry, we need to hear from the people who missed the first hearing that they've watched the video so that they're eligible to vote.
This is it. I did go along with the site visit, and I was on the September 24th meeting, but I did see last meeting's video.
All right, anyone else?
This is
I'm sorry, go ahead.
This is Jennifer. I was able to watch the last BCAT video, and I also reviewed the pictures and everything that Eileen and all the commissioners that visited the site sent along.
Don?
This is Don. I did watch the video and I did visit the site.
Gail, you were there at the last meeting, and I was there, and Bill, you were there. So we're all set. So is there anyone in the audience for this that has a comment on the directional drilling project for 102 Wynn Street? All right, there's no one in the audience that has a comment on it. So if there's no objection from the commissioners, could Eileen or John, would you be kind enough to review the decision, the findings, and the permit?
Yes, I will. Oh, I just did something weird. Sorry. Right. Okay. Are we on the right one now? Okay, here we go. We'll start with the order since this is what I found. Can everybody see it? I hope you can and hear me. Okay, we'll just mention the plan references. There was a notice of intent site plan map 37, lot 29, block 0, dated June 26, 2020, signed and stamped by Stephen Dresser, and a HydroCAD report prepared by Stephen Dresser as well. The first several of these are as standard. The work permits The order permits work within the 100-foot buffer zone to bordering vegetated wetlands, and no work within any wetland resource area has been permitted by this decision.
Excuse me, Eileen.
Yes.
So though that plan reference was updated, so there was a revised plan. We need to update on that.
I hadn't updated that one. That's the old one. Okay, I'll make a note.
Yeah.
Update plan reference. Okay, thank you.
The latest revision is October 4th.
Okay, October 4th,
Right date.
2020. Okay, sorry about that. But keep telling me if there's something else that needs to be changed. The Conservation Commission shall receive notice between 2 and 5 days prior to commencement of activity on the site, and then you will clearly stake out the limit of work on site, and will invite the staff to meet on site to review the order of conditions with evidence that the order has been filed with the Registry of Deeds and everything else that is required, including a sign displaying the project's DEP file number and extra erosion controls. The applicant shall attempt to obtain permission to access the site via Duncan Road from the abutter. If that is unsuccessful, a letter from a structural engineer shall be provided stating that the existing culvert will withstand traffic from construction vehicles, including concrete trucks. Prior to commencement of any construction activity on site, erosion controls shall be installed along the erosion control line as shown on the referenced plan. A lot of the rest of these are standard. Materials should not be stockpiled on the site within 40 feet of wetlands. No dewatering. At the end of the workday, the applicant shall sweep the roadway. Catch basins shall be protected within 100 feet of the work, shall be protected with silt sacks or equivalent. And the Commission reserves the right to require additional erosion control. The ones about work involving filling or grading are as standard. No additional grading beyond which is approved in this project. This decision is construction of the housing utilities only. No other work is reviewed or permitted by this decision. The existing driveway shall not be widened or repaved without a new filing to the Commission. All of the pollution control conditions are pretty standard about keeping debris or fuel or anything well out of the wetlands. Pesticides, fungicides, and herbicides shall not be used within 100 feet of the wetlands. For stormwater management, the applicant shall submit an operations and maintenance plan to the Commission for the infiltration unit. And this condition, the responsibility of maintenance of these structures is with the property owner and any future property owners. And this is going to be in perpetuity on the certificate of compliance. And then these conditions are a standard for how to actually go about getting your certificate of compliance. And then the bylaw permit for the project was the same. It was explaining that the application was filed for the demolition of an existing single-family residence and construction of a new single-family dwelling, deck, and associated grading and utilities, and the construction and horizontal drilling of a new sewer within the 100-foot buffer to bordering vegetated wetlands. Went through the filing history and the same plan references, which will also be updated. Oh, this one I did say last revised to 10.4, so I mustn't have just updated the other one. Sorry about that. The proposed horizontal drilling and installation of the sewer line was going under the bordering vegetated wetlands, and the staging areas for the drilling were in the 100-foot buffer zone to BVW. The eastern staging area closer to the proposed house was approximately 25 feet from the BVW, and the western staging area was closer to Wynn Street, was approximately 22 feet from the BVW. The proposed house and associated grading are outside the buffer zone to BVW. This project is exempt from the Massachusetts stormwater regulations as it's a single-family home, but it will be regulated under the Burlington's Erosion and Sedimentation Control Bylaw, meaning that erosion and sedimentation controls will be implemented during construction. And this will also serve as a permit under the Erosion and Sedimentation Control Bylaw. Most of the rest are as standard. References the decisions in the conditions in the order of conditions, and suggests a bond in the amount of $2,500 for the length of this project.
Okay, any comments by the Commission or John? Any of you have comments? All right, Mr. Dresser, any comments or concerns?
Nope, we had reviewed it prior. We're good.
Okay, that's great. All right, could I therefore have a motion to close the hearing on DEP file number 122-650?
So
So
moved.
moved, Gail.
Was there a second?
Second Ed.
Okay, Dawn, how do you vote?
Yes.
Gail?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. The hearing is closed. 600 vote. Okay, could I have a motion to issue the findings under Burlington Bylaw Article 14?
So moved, Bill.
Second.
Second Ed.
Dawn, how do you vote?
Yes.
Gail?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Findings are issued for DEP file number 122-650. Okay, can I have a motion to issue the permit conditions for DEP file number 122-650 under Burlington Bylaw Article 14 in the State Wetlands Protection Act?
So moved, Ed.
Second.
Bill.
Dawn, how do you vote?
Yes.
Gail?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Permit is issued for DEP file number 122-650. Could I have a motion to request the posting of performance surety in the amount of $2,500 under authority of Burlington Bylaw Article 14 for DEP file number 122-650?
So moved, Ed.
Second.
Second, Bill.
Second, Gail.
Don, how do you vote?
Yes.
Gail?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. The performance surety of $2,500 for DEP file number 122-650 is approved. 600 vote. All right, Mr. Dresser, you're all set on this one.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, this is Ed. I got a question for Steve. Steven, you have any idea when the horizontal drilling is going to take place?
I don't.
Okay, that's still intrigued, that whole thing.
Yeah. I'll let John know.
Okay,
He'll probably know as part of the process anyway, but.
thank you.
we'll make
All
sure.
right, thank you. Our next item is item 7, continued public hearing, request for amendment to Burlington Wetlands Bylaw Permit 101 Francis Wyman Road for the Wheat Point Companies. Okay, John or Eileen, any comments on this one?
We don't have any comments on this one. We sort of ran through it last week. It's with the changeover from the cul-de-sac to driveways, there's a little bit less impervious surface, and one of the main changes was the installation of a second infiltration unit, which I think makes sense. I think it's better to have 2 rather than one single one. So I don't have any issues with this.
So you're suggesting we have two different votes?
No,
No.
sorry, was that confusing? There will be 2 infiltration systems rather
Oh,
than
2
one.
infiltration. Okay, got it. Okay.
Sorry.
All right. So someone's here for that.
Yeah, this is Steve Dresser. Again, Dresser Williams and Way representing. I do want to point one thing. In one of the and I got these rather late. But one of the conditions talks about the driveway trenches connecting to the. I'm sorry. Find them first. Building stone to collect the driveway runoff and to channel stormwater toward the infiltration system. I wasn't at the last meeting, but it's not going to channel that runoff. There's just this kind of the standard driveway trenches that we do, but they're kind of in a different subcatchment than the infiltration systems. And if we were to connect them, we'd have to significantly increase the size of them as well.
We had talked at the previous meeting about making a swale to go back towards the infiltration. So I actually thought that's what you were doing with the stone trenches, but we can tweak that wording. That's not a problem.
All right. We did, I mean, we're still having a significantly less runoff than before because not only have we reduced the impervious area, but now we're doing some infiltration as well. Like in all
Okay.
directions.
When I go through that, we can agree on a different wording.
All right, any of the commissioners have any further comments on this one? All right, is there anyone in the audience for this that would like to make a comment? It's a request for an amendment to an existing Burlington wetland bylaw permit for 101 Francis Wyman Road. Anyone in the audience? Well, if no one has anything further to say, why don't we review the finding and decision? The draft.
Yep. Sorry. Oh, God. Bylaw amendment, here we are. Okay. So the amendment description, the proposed amendment is for the 2 lots on Francis Wyman Road only, not the Dartmouth Street lots. Building 2 infiltration systems, 1 for each house, rather than the 1 shared system permitted in the previous decision. Sorry, this is the amendment. Building driveways instead of the terra firma lane cul-de-sac, which will reduce the total impervious area. Building stone trenches to collect the driveway runoff. And I could just leave it with that. Remove the second part.
I think so.
Okay.
One other thing that I don't know if I could share my screen, but we did add more than what's there too. There's a wall and a trench over on you. Oh, I don't know if I can share without.
I think you are.
Okay. So right up in here, we also added a stone trench. So there's a fairly significant slope here. Even though it is running off that way, we've added a retaining wall. We've brought that up and with a stone trench on the other side. So that could also be a bullet point in there. Building a stone trench along the northerly property line.
Right.
To provide infiltration.
Right. Okay.
I'm just getting the wording northerly. Yep.
All right. All right, Eileen, please continue.
Can I share it again? Oh, we'll stop as soon as I start sharing. I didn't understand how that worked. Okay, I'm sharing my screen. Where did my thing go? Steve, you put me off. The original application was filed by 101 Francis Wyman Road LLC under the Burlington Wetlands Bylaw only, as the proposed work to create a 6-lot subdivision was within buffer zone to an isolated wetland, and the 2 lots that are the subject of this amendment are outside the buffer zone. This is just going through the decision, referencing the various plans that were submitted for this, and the only new condition that we are proposing is that the maintenance of the roof and driveway infiltration systems for these 2 lots shall be detailed in a revised stormwater operations and maintenance plan to be submitted and approved before construction commences. This condition will be noted on the certificate of compliance as existing in perpetuity. In other words, all of the existing conditions still remain.
All right, Mr. Dresser, you okay with this?
We are. Yep.
Okay. Anything further from any of the commissioners? All right, if there's nothing further, could I have a motion to amend the existing Burlington Wetlands Bylaw permit for 101 Francis Wyman Road under Burlington Bylaw Article 14 on behalf of the Waypoint Companies?
So moved, Ed.
Second?
Second, Bill.
Second, Don.
Okay, Don, how do you vote?
Yes.
Gail?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. The amendment to the 101 Francis Wyman Road subdivision wetlands permit passes by 600.
Larry, did you close the hearing? Did you close the hearing? Okay.
Okay, could I have a motion to close the hearing for 101 Francis Wyman Road?
So moved, Don.
Second?
Second, Ed.
Okay, Dawn, how do you vote?
Yes.
Gail,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Okay, chair votes yes, 600. The hearing on this item is closed. I think we're all set. Is there anything further on this one?
That's it.
All right, thank you, Mr. Dresser. Okay. Jennifer, I see you have a commissioner in training.
Yeah, she's not allowed to vote though, right?
No.
Well, if we get stuck, if we end up with a tie, you never know. All right. Okay, so next item on the agenda, let's see, is notice is hereby given, the Burlington Conservation Commission will hold a virtual public hearing during which time we will take all information related to an erosion and sedimentation control permit application filed by the Gutierrez Company. It is for the construction of a 235,000 square foot commercial office and laboratory building with associated structured parking and associated site improvements at 300 Summit Drive in Burlington. The application is being heard pursuant to Burlington Bylaw Article 14, Section 6. The commission will review all information relative to the application and thereafter may issue an erosion and sedimentation control permit for the proposed activities. The application materials available by contacting conservation@burlington.org. All right, someone here to lead that discussion, to introduce the topic.
Yes, good evening. Scott Weiss with the Gutierrez Company. How you doing?
I'm doing fine, Scott. How are you tonight?
Just dandy, thank you. I appreciate everyone's time here. With me tonight, I also have Will Park and Marisa Fryer from Sims Maney McKee. So they are the site civil engineers working on the project with us. And if, with your permission, Will share his screen and we'll give you an overview of the project.
All right, I thought that that in the interest of such a large project that we would do the overview as you just stated, Scott, and we would perhaps talk a little bit about making sure we understand the details of the drainage system. And then some of the miscellaneous topics I'm suggesting to the commission, we might want to pick up in a second meeting. How does that sound to you?
That would be fine. That would be fine.
All right, sounds great.
And
Okay,
in the
please.
interest of time, it looked like you had a pretty busy agenda. We will try to be brief, although some of the stuff may have been continued. I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, you were the last item on our formal agenda for the evening.
Okay.
So we have a little bit of time before the big debate ensues.
Debate? There's a debate on? No, I'm clearly joking. Okay, so we'll give you an overview of the project, run through a little bit of the drainage, open it up for questions and your direction, Mr. Chair, as to how you want to proceed.
Sure.
What Will has pulled up in front of you is an aerial overview of the project. What is in the darker color is the proposed project, but let me give you a little bit of an orientation here. There is a large building with a white roof. That is the Millipore building, Millipore Sigma building at 600 Summit Drive. Just to the right of that, and sits in front of it, is 200 Summit Drive, the old Siemens Nixdorf building, which I'm sure many of you recall. Shaded just in front of the 200 Summit Drive is part of the access drive, which continues down the hill just off the bottom of the page to the Middlesex Turnpike intersection. And what you see on the very bottom right corner is the back parking lot for the Best Buy. And some of the, just across the roadway is some of the parking area for 200 Summit. As you indicated in the meeting announcement, the project consists of a 235,000 square foot life science lab building. And this is an important component because, as many of you may recall, last year with some zoning changes and earlier this year in January, there were a number of zoning changes, including this property, to allow for life science development and to not only allow but help promote life science lab type development. And that is what we've proposed here. And because of those zone changes, this project is allowed and can go forward per zoning. So the plan here, what you see just on the top right of the plan is the ramp that goes the ramp that goes to and from Route 3 that connects to 128. So we're just off that ramp area and working in the area just to the west, just to the south of the interchange and just to the west of the Millipore and 200 Summit buildings. The building is outlined in white. Will can show you where that is. So that will be a 4-story building with some parking underneath it. There is a parking area just to the southwest of the building. That's a surface parking lot. And further south to that is a 1-level parking deck. So there's a level of parking on grade plus 1 supported level of parking above that. For those of you that may recall, and we can switch to this later, but there is an existing detention basin that serves the Millipore site that sits under the southerly corner of the proposed building and under the parking and entrance area that is there today. And that detention basin will be eliminated. Thank you, will be eliminated and replaced with a new larger basin at the north east corner. Actually, just to give everybody orientation, north is to the right. So that is heading north off the right edge of the page. That detention basin will be eliminated and replaced with a larger detention basin where all of the flows that go to the existing basin, as well as a significant portion, but a portion of the flows from this new site will also be directed there. And that follows the existing drain pattern. There is a little bit of existing drainage that flows to the south of the property at the very tail end of the parking lot and flows down there, and some limited amount of flow will still be directed that way, mostly overland. All of the parking areas will be directed to the detention basin or a new subsurface infiltration area under the surface parking lot that Will is drawing in right now to show you where that is. So there are those sort of 3 drainage areas. There is also an area just in front of the building and some visitor parking where we have included a low impact development bioretention feature to collect stormwater in there and to help infiltrate. And that will eventually, any overflow from that area will make its way towards the detention basin as well. So in general, that's the general layout of where drainage is aligned to go. Obviously, during construction, the entirety of the site will have erosion control barrier put around the perimeter, as is customary and would be done here. And obviously, one of the first things that needs to be dealt with is the relocation of the existing detention basin before any other construction can really proceed. So that existing basin or the new basin would be constructed, pipes would be rerouted to that area, and then obviously the work on the building and the parking can proceed from that point. So that is a quick overview focused mainly on the drainage, stormwater controls on the site. We're happy to get into any other details and information that you would like, and just wanted to keep it brief. So give you guys the maximum amount of time to comment and question.
I thought it would be worthwhile taking another 5 minutes of your time to go over the drainage feature by feature. In other words, starting with the parking and starting with the building and starting with the paved areas where the drainage is, how it is routed and how it is treated.
Sure. So for this, Will, we should probably flip to the grading and drainage plan.
Right. That's what I was opening while I was listening to you. Yep.
Okay. Scott, would you like me to go through this or would you like to?
Yep. I think that would be great. You can take it away. You're far more intimately familiar.
So Scott mentioned the existing buildings at 400 and 600 Summit that I'm highlighting here and 200 Summit here. There are
Actually, I'm not, Will, just to interrupt. Sorry, I'm not seeing your highlighting at the moment. I don't know if other people are.
Can you see my cursor?
Not.
No.
Okay. I will use clouds then. So there are several existing stormwater BMPs on site that will remain. Can everyone see that?
Might need to darken that up or.
Man. All right. Last attempt. Can everyone see that oval?
Yes. The red oval.
So that is an existing recharge system that was installed as part of the 400, 600 project. Additionally, Scott mentioned the existing detention basin is roughly in this area here. I'll zoom in on it so you can see the contours. So it's kind of in the area between the two buildings, pretty much. The structured parking and the proposed 300 Summit building. So what we've done, as Scott mentioned, is first order of business will be to relocate this existing basin over to the page right where the proposed basin is located. The dimensions of the basins are pretty similar, and that's generally a result of we have a lot of different systems here on site. We have the existing recharge system, and then the proposed recharge system at the top of the page here. And we also have the rooftop runoff from 300 Summit. Because all of these systems collect and detain stormwater runoff at different times, the peak runoff rates nicely do not coincide when they're all routed to the proposed detention basin system. So the proposed basin is roughly the same size as the existing basin. So this, as Scott mentioned, the proposed basin will pick up the discharge from this existing recharge system to remain. Scott mentioned there's a bioretention system right in front of the building here. Can everyone see this area here is a bioretention area with a pea stone or riprap pretreatment. So this will all sheet flow off the parking area. There's no curbs and gutters here. Sheet flow off this visitor parking area into the bioretention. And then there's a large collector pipe that collects the discharge from the existing recharge system, the bioretention, and the rooftop runoff. There's a roof drain that comes off the building in this area here, and they all discharge in. Sorry, here's the roof drain right here, and they all discharge into the main stormwater basin. The surface area, the surface parking lot here on the top of the page, and
Can I interrupt for a second, please? This is Bill. Can you show how the existing water feature infiltration basin connects to the new basin?
Sure.
So show me the line on the map.
Sure. So there's an outlet control structure just outside of the existing system, and then it used to head across country to the existing detention basin. We're intercepting that pipe, and then there's this main header pipe that heads across the whole front of the site that picks up those various things that I mentioned.
Very good, thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, feel free, anyone feel free to stop me if you want me to go into more detail. So as I was saying, the surface parking lot here behind the building, kind of to the southwest of the proposed 300 Summit building, and the structured parking get routed to a water quality unit located right here that discharges into the proposed subsurface recharge system. That system is identical to the one that was installed at 300 or 400 and 600 Summit. It's the currently proposed as a Contec perforated 48-inch, I believe, CMP system with crushed stone around it or approved equal. We think that's a good system for this. It's easy to install, and it's been working well in the existing configuration. Despite its adjacency to design point 3 in this page top corner here, the discharge from the proposed recharge system actually runs in a pipe, discharges here to an outlet control structure, and then runs in a pipe all the way along the north side of the building. Sorry, I'll try to limit the zooming and panning. And that pipe that discharges out of the proposed recharge system actually bypasses the surface detention basin and discharges at the same location at the toe of the slope here at design point 1.
And Will, just to throw in there, I'm sure everyone in the commission is probably well aware of this. The subsurface recharge systems obviously serve two purposes. One, the groundwater recharge, but also some holding volume in there. And what you really have for your outlet control is really overflow pipes for what can't be handled within those systems.
Correct. They handle a good amount of flow with a fraction of the inflow coming out of the outfall, and as a result of that, for example, the rooftop runoff does not flows freely into the proposed system, whereas there's a slow discharge from the recharge systems. So those peaks don't really coincide and add on top of each other. They're kind of offset. So the post-development peak numbers don't spike, which is nice. So that's the general overview of where things are routed. Any questions on that?
All right. What I'd like to suggest is that as we ask questions, let's distinguish between those questions that should probably have some kind of a response in writing, and as opposed to those things that have a very quick answer.
Sure.
So things that require a more elaborate explanation, we can take note of the issue and we can respond more completely after you've had time to think about it and so forth. Does that sound like a good approach?
Sure.
Okay. All right. So John or Eileen, do you have any initial comments?
So this is John. So once again, this is filed as an erosion and sedimentation control permit. You can see on the plan the outlet for the proposed detention basin and also for the overflow from the infiltrator is approximately a little over 100 feet or 100 feet from the wetlands. We did check the wetland flags. They seemed accurate. So it's filed as an erosion permit, not as a wetland permit because it's 100 feet away. As far as the stormwater goes, it's a lot to digest. I do have one question. So it seems like the existing detention basin probably gets fairly good infiltration. How were the soils in the new basin compared to the soils in the existing basin? Will you get approximately the same amount of infiltration within the basin?
Well, just to throw out there, a lot of the soils up on site are till type soils that actually don't infiltrate greatly. Is that correct, Will? I mean, there is some infiltration certainly in your recharge systems.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, Scott. It's mainly till that has been compacted. So I'd be surprised if there was much infiltration. Honestly, I mean, with the surface area as big as these, I'd say evaporation is probably more likely to lower water elevations. Have you observed it infiltrating, John?
No, it just doesn't look like a lot of water is in there at any time. So it's just, it doesn't seem like water stays in there for an extended time. So
I believe it's equipped with a low flow orifice, a 6 to 12-inch orifice right at the bottom elevation. So it's intended to be a dry basin.
Okay.
As well the proposed basin.
Okay. I have questions about your TSS worksheets. I can do that offline. I mean, I don't think you're taking credit. You're giving yourself 0 for your proprietary treatment structure, stuff like that. We can talk about that offline, though.
Okay, thank you.
John, could we go back to see if anyone has questions regarding? Could we go back to see if anybody has any questions regarding the new basin? Because you brought it up.
Okay.
Does anyone on the commission have questions about the soils or the basin or how it's intended to work? Okay, I'll start off a couple of questions. Is this new basin meant to be a detention where solids are being removed?
Yes, there will be TSS removal in the pond during storm events.
Okay.
There is pre-treatment prior to it, though, Chairman.
Yes.
Obviously, the existing recharge system that will discharge to it, that alone has its own water quality unit before going into the recharge system. So it's very clean water that comes out of the existing system into the pond. The bioretention area has surface pre-treatment, and then we'll have treatment in the bioretention system itself. And then, as you know, the rooftop runoff that will contribute is considered clean,
right?
Because vehicles.
Here's my question regarding that. It seems like the old basin. I didn't measure it off, but it seemed like the old basin had quite a long path from the inlet to the outlet, and the new basin is a little bit different shape. So if it's intended to remove solids, I was wondering whether you needed sort of some kind of a segmented basin or that would allow for a forebay or something like that, because it seems like there's, it's not a long basin that would allow for settling out.
Yeah, I understand that observation. These are very long basins, so when we consider, Stokes' law of sediment settling out of sediment settling out in water, is still in a basin this size. When it's filled with water, it still has plenty of time to reach the inlet to the outlet, versus a small hole in the ground pond in a smaller development that would make a significant difference. The travel time is significant. I agree. It does appear to be a little bit shorter, and we could take a look at segmenting this or creating a longer travel distance for the smaller water quality storm events.
Well, could you? There's no reason to solve it engineer it right here, but could you note it as an issue that to take a look at whether it needs to be segmented, or to have a forebay in order to achieve the maximum solids removal that you're looking for?
Absolutely.
All right, so let's leave that as an issue. All right, anyone else have a question on the new detention basin? All right. Okay, John, would you like to continue? I kind of interrupted you because I wanted to finish any discussion on that basin.
No, that's really all I had. I mean, I think one of the keys is to have a very clearly detailed sequence, work sequence plan to make sure that all the stormwater is routed to the new basin before the old basin's taken offline, obviously, which obviously they want to do as well. So I don't really have any other issues right now.
All right, let's go through the commission and see if they have any issues or thoughts of concern or comments. Let's go with Dawn. Do you see anything at this point?
No, not at this time.
All right. How about Gail? Do you have any comments?
So just some basic problems with reading the plan. I tried to, you mean some of the notes and the planting plan, things like that. When I took it off the town site, I just couldn't enlarge it. The resolution wasn't good and I just couldn't read the kind of notes on that. So I don't know if that's possible to like put that in a, you know, PDF or something that you can send out that be easier to read.
Sure, we'd also be happy to mail a hard copy.
I don't need a hard copy. It's just, and maybe maybe it was a device I was using, when I accessed it from the town's website, I just couldn't enlarge it enough to read it, that the resolution wasn't good. On mostly the notes, I could see the schematic, but the notes and the planting plan, I couldn't read.
Well, we can
we have
mail
the
out
drawing.
PDFs.
What?
We can mail out PDFs.
Okay, that'd be good. Thank
Yeah,
you.
it may just be the version that's posted on the web because it's a very large file that was submitted. And maybe what's posted on the web is a low resolution version of it.
Could be, yeah.
All right. Okay, Gail, if you're through, I'll go to Bill.
Okay. Are you, okay? I have a couple questions about drainage. The structured parking feature, the leftmost part of it, that is the ground level that's not covered by a second layer. It seems to me like that portion drains to the left to 3 catch basins. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yep.
Those 3 are connected through a drain that seems, if I'm following it correctly, to go without any treatment whatsoever off to the upper right of the drawing. Am I missing something? I don't see those draining through any kind of a oil gas separator or anything like that.
Good question. I think originally we were debating daylighting this and having treatment be within a grass swale, and then we couldn't get the elevations to work. So, and then as you can see here, it starts as soon as it reaches this point in the line, it starts to commingle with offsite flow. So I tend to agree that we probably should have an water quality unit in one of these 2 manholes here to clean up the runoff from the paved surfaces.
Okay, great. Another question, the lower right of that parking garage building, just outside of the lower right, there looks like there's a significant depression there, you know, is that meant to be any kind of a water holding or is that strictly a landscape feature?
That is just a catch basin in a low point, and it's accepting only lawn area, roughly this area here that I'm highlighting,
Okay.
between the existing access drive and the in this proposed structured parking. It's just a low point that needed to drain. And then that area there commingles with the existing recharge, the bioretention, and the roof.
Okay.
So runoff from, just to your last point, runoff that enters this catch basin does not receive treatment prior to entering the pond, but it is just lawn area that it's
Right.
receiving.
Okay. The other questions I had were somewhat, I guess semantics, I don't know. Inside of that parking garage, there's a term that says AUL area. What does that mean?
Yep. So as part of the original development of this land and the former DOT land, there was some contaminated soil material that was consolidated and buried in this area, and that area is to be is marked and recorded, and the intent is to really not disturb that. And this pavement for the parking will create a more permanent cover over that area.
Okay. And the last question I had for terminology was also in the underground garage, the one under the building. There's a term in there that says there is an ejector pit. Can you explain that, please?
Sure. So in the technical report, we submitted a conceptual layout of the under-building parking and indicate that everything will generally flow. Here, let me. Everything will generally flow in this direction here, down to this corner. And then as part of the building plumbing design, there will be a oil, gas, sand interceptor, and then a pump station under the slab that will discharge to right here. And as you know, because it's coming from a covered garage area, it needs to be treated as sewer,
Right.
not as stormwater. So that's a future design by the building plumbing engineer, which is pretty typical for under building parking.
Okay, so that's just going to need to pump it up to the sewer level.
Correct.
Okay.
It'll pump it down in this area, pretty much where that call out is, and discharge up closer to grade, and then it'll be gravity from the edge of the building out.
Okay.
Questions?
I think that is all that I have regarding drainage and infiltration and stuff. Thank you.
Thank you.
Larry, you're muted.
All right, I'm back. All right, Jennifer, anything on infiltration or anything of that nature?
No, not at this time. Thank you.
All right, and Ed, how about yourself?
The only thing I was looking at, I guess I just don't understand it. The pipe that's coming down from that drain pipe on the right side of the new basin, where does that enter into the basin?
That one that I described that leaves the proposed system.
Right. And then
So it runs along this entire emergency access drive, and it actually bypasses the proposed system.
okay, it doesn't go into the basin itself, the drain.
Correct.
All right.
Correct.
Okay. I'm good.
So it discharges at the toe of slope here in this energy dissipator.
Yeah, that's where I was thinking too. All right. Just wanted to confirm that for me. Thank you. Go ahead, Larry.
All right, thank you. I had two questions that came to mind, folks. One is for the new basin and the bioretention area, are these being constructed on previously filled areas, and do I assume you have some test borings to characterize it? Is it homogeneous across the whole thing? Or did you have more than one test boring? It's a fairly large basin.
Yeah, so there's a lot of area and variation in the soils here, and a lot of it was fill from prior construction, either prior to our arrival or some of the soils from our work when we built Millipore. So the soils across the site are all varied and very different, and are going to require some level of recompaction, of movement, of excavation, all sorts of things.
Well, the question I was actually trying to express is, given the heterogeneity of the soils underneath, for the areas where you're relying on some infiltration, do you have sufficient number of borings in these locations? And I didn't see any material. I couldn't really say, well, in the new basin, for example, they took 3 borings.
Yeah, I don't know offhand, Will, if you know where the borings and test pits were. I mean, the whole area was poked quite a bit at various points in time. And I don't think in your calculations you're assuming a lot of infiltration in your numbers, correct?
That's correct. We took a conservative. We looked at the USDA or USGS soil survey, as well as the litany of soil borings that have been on the site through its history. And we designed it with a very, very conservative infiltration rate. We're not really relying on the infiltration rate to help with our peak events, for example. And I believe that is described in the technical report, but why don't we add that to the list of things to
Right.
follow
So,
up on
yeah,
with more detail?
if you're going to provide a question and answer, maybe you can just add it right after the question.
Sure. And you mentioned the bioretention. I'd say that the underlying soil is less critical in a bioretention because you're introducing a 3-foot, I believe, soil media that's actually doing the treatment. So it's less important what infiltrates below that.
Okay. All right. That's okay. You'll write that response, and that sounds pretty good so far. The second thing is, are you doing anything to prevent? You have seems like you have some pretty steep slopes here. The obvious one I'm looking at now is the new basin, but there are other areas of the site where there are some substantial slopes. Are you doing anything like doing any terracing or even on an intermediate basis to slow the water down and stuff like that? Or are you proposing a intermediate row of hay bales, something to level spread to slow the water down, or something to prevent erosion through these slopes once they're disturbed?
Good question. Why don't I answer the question in post-construction final configuration on the layout and materials plan? You'll see here wherever there's this hatch here, the honeycomb, if you will.
Yes.
We call an 8-inch thick section of 4 to 5 inch diameter riprap stone over a non-woven filter fabric, where slopes exceed 3 on 1. So 2.5 on 1, 2 on 1. We have a small area that's 1.5 on 1. We're already planning on this, and this will be fine-tuned in more detail with the geotechnical engineer who's on board. So you can see there's a pocket here. There's a pocket here near that small depression that we spoke about a minute ago. And then on the outer slope of the detention basin berm, there's a larger section here too. As for during construction, that's something we'll be monitoring very closely. So using best management practices from our NIPD's SWIP permit, there'll be an on-site geotech They might just have to, for example, install this riprap sooner than later because it is the best. That permanent stabilization is probably the best thing to do to stabilize those slopes rather than a temporary measure. For
And
example.
I will throw in there, Larry, if we go to the erosion control plan, that area, especially given the existence of offsite wetlands that we don't want to mess with it, I think maybe we could propose a double row of hay bales in there. I'm not sure we have that already, but maybe we can beef up the erosion control in that area so that we're sure, because that's where all the flow heads to today,
Right.
for the most part, and that'll be the area that we'll want to, obviously pay the most attention to.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
Scott,
I'd like to leave that issue with you as something for you to think about, the areas where there is impacts, particularly during construction, once it's disturbed, and then particularly if you do this project in the spring, there'll be a lot of rain and so forth.
in general, we showed straw wattles where we don't anticipate there's going to be a lot of runoff, and then in areas that are susceptible to runoff, we increased it to straw bale with silt fence.
All right, well,
We'll take a closer look at it.
all right, that's all I had. I thought is there anyone in the audience for this? This is the erosion and sedimentation control permit for 300 Summit Drive. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to make a comment? Okay, if there is no objection from the commissioners or John or Eileen, what I'd like to do is just go down the list of few things that I had and see if it either needs to be clarified or added to. Does that sound good?
Good.
All
Sounds
right.
good.
The first item on the thing is you agreed to take a look at the detention basin, the new detention basin, and whether the time of travel for settling out needs either some segmentation or a forebay or something of that nature. You'll just take a look at it. Is that
agreed?
Okay, that's number one. Number two, John suggested that, I think you were suggesting, John, you'd like some details on a sequencing plan?
Yes.
Okay. Number three, Gail asked for PDFs that are a little bit easier to read so that she could blow it up and be able to zoom in on the details a little easier.
So we have those.
I can just email those directly tomorrow
we
morning.
have those.
Okay, so we don't need that. Okay. So that's 1, 2. Okay, the third one is, Bill mentioned that parts of the drainage do not seem to have treatment, and you're going to look at installing water quality units in one or more manholes, and you'll respond to that item?
Yeah, I think we identified one area.
Okay. Number 4, it was mentioned that the number of soil borings in relation to areas that may rely on some infiltration, or maybe the answer is that you're not relying on any. I don't know how you're going to answer it, but that was the question.
Yeah, we'll confirm the borings, the soil information versus the infiltration assumptions, and make sure they marry up and provide the information.
Yeah, I mean, my only concern was that you have enough, for areas that I knew were historically filled, that you have enough soil borings to be able to characterize what's going on.
Yep.
Okay. And then on the erosion, particularly impacts during construction on steep slopes, I think you folks committed to taking a look and giving us some detail on areas that might need some best practices and what that might be to limit any problems.
Yes.
Agreed.
Did anyone else have anything else? No. John says no. Bill, anything else come to mind?
No, that's all we've got. That's all I had so far on the topics we've discussed.
Okay.
In the beginning, I heard John say he'll follow up on a specific question on the TSS worksheets.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I'll just reach out to you, Will.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay. So we got that as well. All right. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 items on the list so far. I assume, John, if any of the commissioners have any thoughts or an issue or concern, that we can forward it to you and you can forward it to them and we can review it at the next meeting.
Okay.
Okay. All right. At this point, Mr. Weiss and company, I don't think there's anything else at the moment.
I think that was a very, very comprehensive, in-depth, and quick study for everyone on a pretty complex plan. So that was a pretty impressive review session.
I agree with you. It's one of the more complex drawings I've seen recently.
Yeah, there's obviously a lot of existing facilities in the area that's getting moved around, and even understanding that, to pull together, I think it was Bill, pull out the south end of the parking area. There were some different design iterations on that one to pick up on that. That's pretty impressive. That's good.
All right. All right. Hopefully, our input makes for a better project from your point of view then.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I think it will. I think it's all very good input.
All right. All right. So the next meeting will be on, let's see, is November 12th. Were you thinking, folks, of, because we're going to a one meeting format in November, and then we normally go to a one meeting format in December. Were you folks thinking of continuing to November 12th?
Yeah, I think that'll work. I think you raised some good comments and questions, but I don't see anything that we can't address pretty quickly.
Right.
So we can get you responses and be back in front of you on the 12th with answers sent in to John ahead of time, and so he can circulate the information.
Right. John, do we need a motion to continue to then?
Can I make a point first?
You do.
Okay.
I'd like to make a point first,
Please.
Mr. Chairman. Just for the next meeting, I think, we should be prepared to discuss, of course, the planting plan and the other aspects of this. And I'd like to hear from Scott something about the carbon footprint and what is going on for this new building and your energy plans. Just for my information and to try to push you in a good direction.
Okay.
And I was interested in you folks either talking about what you've thought about or considered whether something in terms of either a combination bike path or walking path only or something of that nature. There seemed to be a nice path on part of the site now. I was interested in whether you're thinking of, we can talk about it at the next meeting, or whether you're thinking of continuing it and so forth.
Yeah, so we can go over that at the next meeting as well. We have some good information on that front to provide as well.
Right, right. Okay, sounds good. I look forward to that discussion.
Okay.
All right, so could I have a motion to continue this hearing for erosion and sedimentation control permit for 300 Summit Drive to November 12th?
So moved, Bill.
Second?
Second, Don.
Don, how do you vote?
Yes.
Gail?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, it will be continued till November 12th by a vote of 6-0.
Thank you very much, everyone.
All right.
you.
Thank you all very much.
Have a good
night.
evening.
All right. Have a good evening. All right. Next on the agenda. As we said, the Redmond Street roadway number 4 and number 5 have been continued. Do we have planning board comments at all? John or Eileen?
So the planning board will have this, I think they'll be opening this project, the Summit Drive project, before our next meeting. I'll check. If so, I could comment to them on what happened this evening.
Okay, thank you. Subcommittee and staff reports and updates. Anyone have anything under that subject? Okay, upcoming meetings. The next meeting will be one meeting in November, November 12th, and then one meeting in December, December 10th. Do we have anything other business?
So we do have a request by the owner of 328, 330 Cambridge Street on September 24th. You released half of the surety for that project and held half of it because the lawn really needed to grow out a bit. We've checked it out. It's pretty well established now. So you released $5,000 a month ago. He's asking for the rest of it to be released, and we're recommending that you release it now.
Okay, any comments from the commission on it? If there's none, could I have a motion to release the remaining surety for 328, 330 Cambridge Street? Is this under Burlington bylaw and wetlands protection?
Right.
Okay, under Burlington bylaw, Article 14 in the State Wetlands Protection Act.
122-622.
Okay, add that to the motion.
So moved, Gail?
Second,
Second, Don.
Don, how do you vote?
Yes.
Gail,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
chair votes yes. The release of the remaining portions of the bond for 328, 330 carries by 600. Is there anything else before we go to motion to adjourn?
No.
Okay. All right. The big event is going to start in a few minutes. Could I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So moved. Bill?
Second. All right. Dawn, how do you vote?
Yes.
Gail,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
let me think about this. Chair votes yes, 600. All right.
Good night, Larry.
Grab your favorite potion and easy chair, and let's see what happens at the debate.
Okay. Have a good night.
Good night.
Have a good evening, everyone.